Good morning. It is 8:30. It is Sunday morning. I am Ron, and that would mean that this is Sunday Morning Live with Ron. Amazing how that all works. I always find it fascinating how every time I show up, I'm Ron. So here we are, Sunday Morning Live with Ron. Welcome. Welcome to everybody on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. We're glad to have you all here. And if you're watching on a replay on any of those platforms, we're glad to have you here. Even if you're not here in the now here, you're here eventually. You're just not here now here. So you're still here. So thanks for being here. What do we do? Sunday morning, live with Ron. Do I just sit here and babble for an hour? Yeah, pretty much. But I babble with purpose. We have three things that we're going to do. The first thing is we are going to show you the new pictures that will be posted on my site and will be my featured images on the site for the next 2 weeks. You say, what site? Why, it's that site there. RonAlcottPhotography.com. That site there. So these pictures you'll be able to see in the new images gallery starting on Monday. And that means they'll be available for purchase too. So don't forget, just because you look doesn't mean you can't buy. You don't even have to break it to buy it. You can just look and buy. I'm that easy. In the meantime, after that, we'll do a few announcements, let you know what's coming up with Ron Alcott Photography. And then we will do a lesson on composition and how to use a couple of tricks of composition to make your photography better. Those will be marvelous. And I'll recap. We're in the middle of a module on composition. And I'm using an article that lists 20 separate composition tools that you can use. So we'll recap the 5 that we've covered already. We'll cover 2 more today. And after that, I will step outside where I have my camera set up live, and I will demonstrate those exact composition techniques in my very own backyard, just to show that you don't have to go to Dublin, which is one of the examples that he uses. He uses examples from all over the world. Welcome whoever joined on Facebook. Glad to have you here. So I'll be demonstrating that in my backyard. The whole thing will take about an hour. I plan to wrap up by 9:30. So with all of that in mind, let's get right to the new pictures. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, I will be able to see your comments, so feel free to step in and say hi. If you're on Instagram, I'll be able to see your comments, but I have to look over here. So if I'm looking over here, that's because I'm checking in on Instagram. They're seeing the same thing you're seeing. It's just that I see the comments over there. It's all technology magic. I can't help it. So our new images. Here's the first one. Here, let me get this stuff out of the way. Get that gone. Get that gone. This first image is called Why Does the Tree Glow? I took this one on a class that I took. I went in at the end of January went into Golden Gate Park, Peacock Meadow and Golden Gate Park on that Saturday, I believe it was a Saturday evening, and went in Peacock Meadow right now, extended through March. There is a light installation. I plan to go back. When I was there, it was very soggy, so they weren't letting you actually go out amongst the lighting fixtures. Some of them were tree-like, like this. Some of them were shrub-like, and we'll have more of those in the future. It was quite an interesting place to be. This was part of the light installation. The colors changed constantly. It just was really, really, really cool. So if you get a chance before the end of March, be sure to get down there and see it. Look up Light Installation Peacock Meadow. I can't remember the name of the piece, but there's actually a whole series of light installations throughout San Francisco. Some of them are temporary. Some of them are permanent. So you'll be seeing more light installations from the next time I get into San Francisco. This one again, why does the tree glow? And the answer is because it's part of a light installation. This one was my day at Niles Canyon. Ooh, I've got 2 people now on Facebook. Welcome, welcome. Say hi. Glad to know who's here. This one was my day on Niles Canyon, where I was chasing a steam train up and down the canyon. This was the train, the engine that was actually pulling the passenger train, passenger cars that we rode in. We didn't ride on the steam train. That was set up for cargo. But we rode on this, and this one's called Southern Pacific 1195. Through my shooting that particular day, I've joined some railroad groups on Facebook. And railroad folks are very, very specific. And they'd rather know that this is Southern Pacific Engine 1195, owned by Niles Canyon Railway, and that than anything else. Okay? They will immediately know what that means. Me, I don't know what that means. I could look it all up, but if you go to Niles Canyon Railway, ncrr.org, okay, you can look up their rolling stock, and this is one of the pieces that they own. So if you look just under their engines, you'll find this engine and get all the technical details. I just like the looks of them. So that was my main thing. I was looking for pretty pictures. So this is called Southern Pacific 1195. The next one is Winter Descends. I took this one on the winter solstice back in December. Winter solstice, of course, is the official start of winter season. And this is sunset on the winter solstice. So it is Winter Descends. It's a beautiful, beautiful, lovely sunset. I was out there trying to catch the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune and the moons of Jupiter. And unfortunately, I never came out with a good picture of that. I just didn't have enough telephoto to get a good picture. And with my camera that I have, I couldn't blow the pictures that I got up big enough. And I had problems focusing, and it is difficult being legally blind trying to focus a camera. So you would wonder, if I'm colorblind and can't focus, what am I doing taking pictures? And many times I wonder that myself. This one's called Winter Descends. And the last one for these next 2 weeks is Aging on the Vine. Aging on the Vine was taken on New Year's Day, 2021. I went on a hike with a special friend of mine down in San Jose near Almaden Lake Park. The lake was actually closed to prevent large groups of people from gathering during the pandemic. But we did take a walk up along a creek there that was open. And this was a vine that was growing on a chain link fence. Got up close to it, used a very shallow depth of field, and got this one crumpled up little leaf. Again, this one's called Aging on the Vine. So, just to recap quick, why does the tree glow? Southern Pacific 1195, winter descends, and Aging on the Vine. So those are the new. I've gotten rid of but I've picked up so. Everybody has a tick. Those are the pictures that are going in my gallery tomorrow morning. You'll be able to see and purchase them there. The gallery, again, is at ronalcottphotography.com. So check them out tomorrow morning. They'll also be what I'm featuring on Facebook and Instagram over the next 2 weeks. So you'll have a chance to see them again. If you follow me on Facebook, which is Ron Alcott Photography, or Instagram, which is Ron Alcott Photography. And you can follow me on YouTube. That would help me out. But you have to look me up on YouTube because I have to get 100 followers. And I made a plea last time, and I did get some new followers. So I am above 1. It used to just be me. But I'm a long ways away from 100. So if you go and follow me on YouTube, I am not an avid YouTuber. It will be, you'll get notifications of this show and the shows that I'm going to announce soon, but it's, every week or two. It's not like I'm putting out new content every day. So do like me and follow me on YouTube. That will help me out so that eventually I can claim my name on YouTube. I would like that very, very much. So we've done one of the 3 things that I promised you. We have shown you the new pictures. We're about to go into doing a photography lesson on composition. So you've arrived just in time for the photography lesson on composition, unless you've already been here, in which case, thank you for staying and enjoy the photography lesson on composition right after these important announcements. Just wanted to remind everybody that it is the end of the month. And every month we do a drawing. I'm trying to get this so it doesn't reflect too much of everything. Okay. This is our drawing for February. It's called Still Life with Floating Feather. All right. And you still have a chance to get in on the drawing. If you're already on my email list, you're already in the drawing, unless you unsubscribed, in which case you're not in the drawing. You have to be subscribed on the email list to be in the drawing. So if you signed up and unsubscribed the first time I sent you a newsletter, you're out. If you want to get back in, send me a direct mail. I'll send you a link so that you can resubscribe. Hi, Dorolia. Welcome. Because if you just fill out the form again, that doesn't resubscribe you. Okay? I have to get you to resubscribe through MailChimp. So if you unsubscribed, shame on you. But if you want to get in on the drawings and you want to resubscribe, go to the contact page on ronalcottphotography.com and send me a note, and I'll send you a link that will allow you to resubscribe. Again, this month's drawing, Still Life with Floating Feather. And we're going to draw that live tomorrow. Tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., we're going to do our live giveaway drawing. And those are kind of fun, actually. There are a lot of places, there are a lot of giveaways on the internet that will tell you that we will pick a winner on the 1st. Well, I don't pick my winners. All right. I draw my winners live. Okay. You know, it's not rigged. Okay. And if you win, expect an email. And if you get an email, answer, please. Okay. Because it's free. Okay. When you win from me, I'm paying the postage. It's all free. You get a signed print with a dedication on the back. Dorolia knows. Dorolia didn't win our monthly drawing, but I had so many people there last month on the 1st of February that I did a bonus drawing, and Dorolia won the bonus drawing. So she knows. I sent that right out to her, and she has it now in her home. A beautiful, beautiful picture. Just for showing up. What more can you ask for? So that is the second announcement. First announcement is the drawing. Okay. Second announcement is that the drawing is happening live. The third announcement, we've still got a couple calendars. All right. The reason I know it's time for a drawing, I've got a calendar. Okay. This is our Rockaway Rocks calendar for 2021. Okay. See all those days there? That's how I know. Because I don't get lost. I'm smart. I got a calendar. Those are available on the website. Everything's available on the website. Anything that you've seen me put up in prior weeks, that's still out there on the website. This is not a trick. Okay? I sell prints. That's what I do. What else? The next Sunday Morning Live with Ron will be 2 weeks from today, which is March 14th, which is St. Patrick's Day weekend. So some of you may be somewhat hungover at that point. No judgments, just saying. But do join me, 8:30. I won't get loud or obnoxious. I may be obnoxious. I can't help it. But I won't get loud. So join me in 2 weeks. Okay. And then just be on the lookout. Okay. Be sure that you're following me on Facebook, following me on Instagram, and following me on YouTube. All three. Go for the 3. Okay. Go for the 3-peat. Follow me on all 3 platforms. And then you'll get notifications when I set up to say I'm going live in 20 minutes. Okay, you'll get a notification on your Facebook or your Instagram or your YouTube saying, hey, Ron is going live in 20 minutes. And you know you don't want to miss that. You know it in your heart of hearts. All right, so we've done the pictures. We've done the announcements. The next thing that we're going to do is, we're going to do our lesson. Our lesson continues to be on composition techniques. We've covered 5 of these 20 composition techniques so far. Okay, just to recap. Okay, we went through rule of thirds. Okay, and that's dividing the picture into thirds and putting the subjects, the interesting points, on one of the third lines or in one of the third quadrants. Okay. See how the square takes up these 2 quadrants, the buildings take up those 4 quadrants, the sky takes up these 3 quadrants. They're not quadrants. I don't know why I'm saying quadrants, because they're not, okay? They're thirds, they're sixths or ninths, I guess. For those of you who like to follow along, you know, it's just like going to church. If you want to follow along in the hymnal, okay, this is the link to the article that I'm using as my source material. So if you want to follow along, that's where that is. So we covered rule of thirds. Then the second method that we've already talked about is symmetry. Okay, having balanced things on 2 sides of the image. And this one here, we're using symmetry, top, and then the reflection on the bottom, as well as the rule of thirds. This tree and its reflection are over on the rule of thirds. All right. Then we talked about using foregrounds to add depth. Okay. It shows here how the foreground part of that picture actually pulls us back and gives us depth to know and have some perspective on that waterfall. Here, the boat cleat gives us some perspective on the cityscape behind it. All right. Last time we talked about framing. Okay, frames within a frame. Okay, and using natural features for framing. And then the 5th one we've already covered is leading lines. Okay, using lines to draw you back into the picture and make your viewer see, get pulled back to the subject. Okay, and lines don't have to be straight. Some of the best lines are actually S-curves. So look for S-curves. Now we're starting on the new material. Okay. I'm going to get rid of some of these ads here, I hope. Okay. Diagonals and triangles. Okay. Diagonals and triangles add dynamic tension. Okay. So what's dynamic tension? If you look at a picture, okay, and I'm going to show you, well, no, we'll start here. This is Samuel Beckett Bridge in Dublin, okay? And here you see that there are lots of triangles, okay? And all of these triangles converge on one point, and they serve, just like leading lines, to pull you back into the image. Okay? So you see the big triangle here points to there. Okay? This leading line and that leading line converge to make a triangle, as does this leading line, as does that leading line, as does this leading line. Right? You have to work to find these. But that's what you do as a photographer. You move around until you find the composition that you want. This one has lots of triangles. Okay? Here's another one. And again, using triangles. You can use perspective to create triangles. Okay, so here we're using the perspective on the building, which is moving away from us. Okay, perspective on the retaining wall here, perspective on the little pond, and perspective on the curb next to the little pond to create triangles that all converge back to bring us back to this point so that we are focusing on the main subject, which here will be the building. So triangles are one thing that you can use. Okay. So that's one of our topics today. Patterns and textures are another thing that you can use. All right. Repeating patterns, varying textures. Here we see a plaza with a lot of repeating patterns on it. And that repeat of the pattern allows us this structure, which doesn't repeat the pattern, to pop out as something different. That idea in patterns, and you can do the same thing using textures. Here, there's no real pattern in these stones, but the texture of all these stones around here compared to the relative smoothness of the subject in the opening. And you will find, and something that I am actively working on this year, is you're going to start seeing combinations of techniques. Okay, so here we're using the texture, yes. We're also using framing, okay, and put our subject right there in the frame. Okay, we're also using a leading line right along there to point us right straight to the subject. Okay, and if you divide this up into thirds, okay, you're going to find out that subject is standing on the right-hand third at the top third line. Okay? So all of these things compound. And really, the more of these techniques that you can combine into a shot, the more interesting your shot becomes. Okay? So again, our two topics today are triangles and diagonals, or diagonals and triangles, as they choose to call it, and patterns and textures. And once again, this is, if you want to, read ahead. I know some of you are like that. I can be like that. If you want to read ahead and learn about all 20 yourself and just not talk to me anymore, I'll be sad. I'll be horribly sad. I have to admit it. I'll be horribly sad if you don't talk to me anymore. But that's the link to our source material. I have no rights to it. I'm just using it as a reference. Now, before I go outside, I do want to show you something that admittedly is a pet peeve of mine, but it involves the use of diagonals. There is a technique in photography called a Dutch angle. And that is where you place an image on a tilt to create that quote unquote dynamic tension. Well, I got to tell you, that's a grand thing unless you have water. I've even gotten to the point where I will accept it with a horizon. But if you have water, please, 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 please get your horizon straight. Now, this does create a diagonal line. They didn't go quite far enough to use it as a triangle, which might have been more effective. Okay. But notice how your brain wants to try to figure out why the ocean has not drained away to the right. So if you've got water in the foreground of your picture and a solid horizon line, please, for my sake, please get the horizon line straight. See, I didn't want to leave you with that crooked picture. But please get the horizon line level. Okay. Here they've used a diagonal line on the shoreline. That's fine, but you don't get the feeling like the water should have drained away off the edge of the world. So, hi, Roseanne. Welcome. Roseanne joined us on Instagram for a minute. So, again, that's just a pet peeve. Do this. Use the diagonal line on a shoreline. Don't use a diagonal line on your water horizon. It just is too disturbing. All right. So, that being said, we're going to jump out here to our Sony a6000, and we're going to demonstrate diagonals and triangles and patterns and textures. Okay, so bear with me 1 second while I step out there. Okay, here we are. Just so that you know, we are live. That's me. Zooming in, zooming out. All right. Now, we still have the same problem we've always had, in that I'm going to have to put you dark in order to make sure I'm showing you what I want to show you. So first off, as I suspected, my really nice, strong sun that was creating some nice diagonals here on my porch has gone away, but I planned ahead for that. So 1 second while I switch over. I'm going to take you out, turn me on. Okay. So this I took earlier this morning right here on the porch, okay, to show the triangle and diagonal line leading up to that post. The post is clearly the subject of the picture, okay? And you notice how the triangle design element brings you to that, okay? And it creates a sort of excitement in the picture. Normally, you wouldn't be that excited about a post, okay? And here's a different one, okay? Again, this one I'm more tapped right on top of the line, so it becomes more of a leading line, but you still have that triangle effect of the other leading line of the divider in the concrete leading up. Okay, so let's see what other types of diagonals and triangles we can find to make things interesting. Okay, so I'm going to move my camera a little bit. All right. There. Now you should be seeing the camera again. All right. Let me frame something up for you. Okay, and then I've got to all right, so there we go. I know I'm supposed to talk through all of that, but I don't sometimes. There we go. Now you should see that. Okay, notice how the wood divider forms a triangle along the edge of the concrete. It's because it's bent. I'm in a 70-year-old house. What do you want? All right. So there, I'm using so again. Why am I using so much? Stop that. Interesting little composition there with the triangles. Let me take that picture. And you don't always have to have an existing triangle. You can create a triangle with the way that you compose the shot. Okay, we'll go back out here to our full scan. Okay, you see that these intersections are definitely square. Okay, there's nothing triangular about them. There's this big square of concrete, another big square of concrete, another big square of concrete. Okay, but look what happens if I move around just a little bit and use the crop, the bottom edge of my picture to create a triangle. So I'm going to move over here where I took those pictures earlier today, because there's still a little bit of a hint of triangulation there. Okay. And I'm going to take you offline just so I can compose the picture here. All right. And there we go. All right. So notice now I'm using the edge of the picture frame, the edge of the camera frame, to create a triangle. We've got one over there on the left. We've got one right here in front of me. We got one in the back right. Okay, we've got two on either side of that post. All of a sudden, these squares turned into triangles. So you can create triangles using your composition methods. Okay. So that's triangles, diagonals. You'll see there's another diagonal right there, the shadow of the post leading up to the post. Okay. So let's go ahead and take that picture. There he is. Now, what about patterns? All right. I've got some patterns right over here. Okay. All right. We're going to shoot right down on this table. Let me, no, doesn't even do that. Take a look at what you're seeing. There we go. And zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I wish I was further away, but I'm not. Okay. Notice how there are repeating patterns on this table. These particular patterns all draw into the center, right? So you're looking right here. I know you are, because you can't help it. That's the way our brain processes patterns. It will follow the pattern wherever it takes us, in this case, into the center. All right? So that's the idea of patterns. I'm not really sure I have anything to demonstrate texture. All right. I suppose I could use the ground versus the concrete. Okay, that would be something. I use the concrete as a smooth texture leading out to the ground, but I'm not going to set that up. So I have set up over here. Let's not make you too dizzy. I need to grab hold of this and make sure it stays connected as I move. Now, I have set up, because you know me, I like to go extreme. I have set up just an extreme example of patterns leading to a subject. And give me a second to adjust things so that you're seeing what I want to show you. All right. I'm going to take you offline for 1 second. Here we are. Okay. I'm going to turn this dial. Slower, 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 slower. There we go. All right. And we're going to take, and let's lower this down a little bit. And there we go. Now I want to, there he is. Continuous. Okay. Now, when I plug this in, you're going to be amazed to do such a thing. I always amaze designers because I'm like, what the heck? Okay. There we are. So, there it is. So, come on, plug. There we go. So there it is. You knew Mr. Rabbit was going to have to make an appearance. Let me show you all of the elements that I have created here to make you look at Mr. Rabbit. Okay. In the foreground, we've got a pattern. Behind that, we've got a pattern. On the table, we've got a pattern, all leading to Mr. Rabbit. Is this a good shot? No, it's way too busy. Okay, don't ever do this. Here, let's let Mr. Rabbit turn around and say hi. Okay, don't ever do this. This is insane, but it's the way I think. All right, would this be a different shot if I turned this into leading lines? Yeah, look at all those leading lines that are pulling you into Mr. Rabbit. So those are the principles behind using diagonals and triangles. We showed you that. Let me take this picture just so that you have an example of what not to do. And we showed you the principles behind using patterns and textures. And again, on this shot, I've got a lot of different textures. I've got the sort of matte finish on this chair, metal chair, the texture of the cloth on the cushion, okay, the texture of the mosaic on the table, and of course the texture of Mr. Rabbit, which is different than any of that. So remember to use your principles of composition. When you go to take your shot, look at what you're shooting. It will make a difference, and it will make you a better photographer, and it will make your pictures more interesting. So that is what I had to say today. Who knows? I may say something else tomorrow or the next day. Well, I definitely will say something else tomorrow, because tomorrow 5:30 p.m. Did I mention that? 5:30 p.m. Tomorrow we're doing the live drawing for Still Life with Floating Feather, okay, which is our giveaway for February. There will be a giveaway for March, so be looking for that announcement. I announce next month's giveaway piece at that 5:30 show, so you will know it when you see it, and you won't know it beforehand. That's just the way it works. Sorry, dudes. And buy a calendar, buy a print. Have a great day. Enjoy. I don't know what it's doing in your neck of the woods. It's slowly starting to warm up and be nice here. I'm probably actually going to start my garden next weekend. We'll see. Always have lots of plans. I was supposed to go to the Golden Gate Bridge yesterday and take a class, a photography class, and it got canceled because not enough people showed up. So I have some errands to run today. I have 2 pieces that I am putting into a local gallery. That show runs March 3rd to the middle of April. I think it's like 6 weeks or so. At the Art Cottage, Mount Diablo Street or Boulevard here in Concord. If you're in the Concord area, drop by. You can see what my prints look like framed up and on the wall. I don't know what else to tell you. I think I've told you every single thing that I know today, which just leaves my brain empty. It's going to be a good day. You be good to yourself, kind to other people, become the person that you would like to meet. Peace out. What happened to my camera? I really thought he should be pointing at Mr. Rabbit. Oh well.